guys, it's Tommy here, and some English newspapers and journalists are reporting that Liverpool are entering or re-entering talks with Newcastle for the transfer of Anthony Gordon. So welcome to this video. In this video we will talk in detail about the latest reports around Liverpool's transfer news, not just Anthony Gordon, but there is a lot of stuff going on. And now that Arne Slot has had time to assess his squad, now Liverpool will accelerate their transfer business in the month of August. The Newcastle are of course putting up a fight when it comes to deciding the future of Anthony Gordon, but Anthony Gordon is already sold on going to Liverpool. When Newcastle proposed a deal of £45 million for Gomez and 75 million for Anthony Gordon in a part exchange, part money deal. So that Liverpool thought that's a great deal, because then you are basically getting Anthony Gordon for 30 million pounds plus Joe Gomez. And Liverpool would have said yes to that deal, or actually they actually said yes to the deal, but then Newcastle pulled the plug on the deal in the last minutes because they managed to sell Minte and Elliot Anderson, so they managed to get together enough money to comply with the profit and sustainability rules. But they are still on a tightrope, and Newcastle can't sign any players until they sell one of their stars. And of course they don't want really to sell Anthony Gordon, but they might have to. And Anthony Gordon, when he comes back, probably will reject Newcastle's contract offer, and that will give Liverpool the green light to pursue this deal further. But right now the news outlet Court of Side is reporting that Liverpool have already begun negotiations, renegotiating the deal with Newcastle. And Eddie Howe of course made it clear that they don't really want to sell Anthony Gordon, but if Anthony Gordon tells Newcastle I want to go to Liverpool, then their hands might be forced. Anthony Gordon is a crucial player for us, Eddie Howe said. We didn't want to lose anybody. Why would we want to lose our best players? We fought really hard to make the right decisions. In those last few weeks it was very, very difficult, but it will be okay with Gordon. And Newcastle are keen to extend his contract, but it's worth noting that, you know, Man United and Chelsea are also interested in Anthony Gordon. But if Anthony Gordon rejects that Newcastle contract, then you can safely assume that Newcastle will sell him, because they don't want a player who is unhappy at the club, who doesn't want to stay, and also you don't want a player who will run down his contract and leave for very little or absolutely nothing when that player is worth 60-70 million pounds. And James Pearce, who is basically a mouthpiece for Liverpool FC in the media and for the owners, he said, I think things will heat up, outgoings will influence that in a certain degree. Anthony Gordon is fascinating, we know how highly Liverpool rate him. I think that's a really interesting one, and signings definitely will happen. I've got no doubt about that in the coming weeks. That's what James Pearce is saying, so he is informed that behind the scenes things are accelerating. So don't worry, Liverpool will make signings in this transfer window. They have to. They cannot go into the new season with a new manager and a new project not backing that new manager with any signings. There will be absolute riots in and around Anfield. The Anthony Gordon deal, according to Lewis Steele, is definitely not dead in the water. But if he's going to want to move, he's going to likely tell Newcastle that. So basically Lewis Steele is saying that Anthony Gordon probably has to hand in a transfer request if he wants to move, and that's how it works nowadays. Player power is crazy high, much higher than even 15-20 years ago, and Anthony Gordon has the power to force Newcastle's hands if he tells the club that he wants to leave. And he did that already once. He handed in a transfer request at Everton, and of course the Everton fans don't like him, but he is a Liverpool fan. Growing up, his idol was Steven Gerrard, his favourite stadium is Anfield, and he's good mates with Curtis Jones. He already confirmed all three things. And Mark Ogden, who is a journalist working for ESPN, he said that he believes Newcastle will strike a deal that allows Anthony Gordon to leave the club and join Liverpool this summer. And he explained why a deal could very much still be on the cards. He said Anthony Gordon is a player that Liverpool like. And I think that deal might happen before the window closes. Well, Newcastle would get the money to come in and add to the squad in terms of signing players, because Newcastle, like a lot of clubs, are struggling with the profit and sustainability rules, and they need to move people around. Liverpool are keen on Anthony Gordon, and Gordon, I've been told, he's keen on going to Liverpool. We've got a month to go before the window closes, and Liverpool needs to get some players in. You can't change a big manager like Jurgen Klopp, and not bring in players in to support your new manager. The problem is, if Newcastle manage to sell other players like Almiron, who has interest from a Saudi Pro League club, he's also 30 years old, so a lot older than Anthony Gordon. If Newcastle managed to sell Almiron for big money, they might not need to sell Anthony Gordon. So we will keep you guys updated on this channel. And according to David Lynch, who is another very reliable Liverpool-based journalist, Liverpool are understood to be prepared to compromise to some degree on the transfer fee for Joe Gomez, given he is now the longest serving player at Liverpool. He is the only player who was at the start of Jurgen Klopp's tenure and who was at the end as well. Joe Gomez will not be given away for a cheap price, so the ball is firmly in the courts of the clubs who want to buy Joe Gomez. And Joe Gomez may quit Liverpool after this swap deal was revealed, and he is considering his future, according to Pete O'Rourke. The Telegraph also claimed that Liverpool indicated during discussions that they would accept 45 million for Gomez. Gordon could have gone to Liverpool for a total package of 75 million, as I said, 30 million plus Joe Gomez. And I fully understand why Joe Gomez is upset at that, because that means the club doesn't really value him or doesn't really want to keep him at all costs. They are not desperate to keep him. However, also another aspect of this is that Joe Gomez wants regular first team football. If he goes to Newcastle or if he's sold to a mid-table Premier League club, he would be a regular starter there. At Liverpool, he is not guaranteed to get minutes. And according to Football Insider, Liverpool would also be willing to sell Gomez at the right price heading into the next 4 weeks. Liverpool want to generate money, and maybe we will keep Sepp van den Berg as our fourth choice centre-back and sell Gomez because we have Tsimikas and Robertson, Trent and Conor Bradley on either fullback positions. But it's a dangerous game that Liverpool are playing, because last season Joe Gomez was absolutely crucial in keeping Liverpool in the title race. When both Robertson and Tsimikas were injured, Gomez played left back for a month, keeping Liverpool ticking over and getting results. When both Trent and Conor Bradley were injured, again Gomez played right back to keep the results going. He is a jack of all trades, a brilliant player, and I would really be sad if he left, because he's still only 27 years old. He still has a good 5, 6, 7 years at the top of his game as a defender, and I would put Joe Gomez probably as fourth choice centre back, and I would sell Sepp van den Berg. Not just because Sepp van den Berg, is not as good as Joe Gomez, not as experienced, he's not as versatile. So Joe Gomez would be a great insurance policy for Liverpool. If anything happens to our right backs or left backs, Joe Gomez could jump in. If anything happens to our centre backs, Joe Gomez can play as well. But the problem is that since the 2019-20 season, where Liverpool ended their 30-year wait and won their first Premier League title, where Joe Gomez was the partner of Virgil van Dijk, and he had an absolutely brilliant season, but since then a couple of long-term injuries and also the arrivals and the emergence of other centre-backs, like Liverpool signed Konate, we developed Kwanzaa into a brilliant player. That means that Joe Gomez hasn't started more than 50% of Liverpool's games in a Premier League season, and he has been at Liverpool for a third of his life. We signed him from Charlton when he was like 16 years old, I still remember that, under Brendan Rodgers, and it would be understandable if Joe Gomez at 27 wants a new challenge in his career and he wants to start regularly at a club where he is first choice centre-back and not third or fourth choice. I think he was even fourth choice behind Gerald Kwanzaa. And Joe Gomez is not a young player anymore. He is a senior presence in the dressing room, having made 224 appearances, winning every single trophy there is to win. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at Joe Gomez if he asked Liverpool to leave and if he would want first team football, because he served Liverpool so well for 10, 11 years, and he has done everything for Liverpool. So if he feels that there is better opportunity of playing time at another club, I would wish him well. But it shouldn't be forgotten how well Joe Gomez played for much of the previous campaign. Actually, this last season was Joe Gomez's best season since that title-winning season. And I would have Joe Gomez in the squad as a trusted operator. And if Joe Gomez is sold, that will be a big loss for Liverpool. I would only sell him if a really, really big offer arrives for Joe Gomez. So 30 million at least. If nobody bids for that, then I would just sell Sepp van den Berg and keep Joe Gomez around. According to David Lynch also, Liverpool would potentially be persuaded to sell Wataru, who is now 31 years old, if higher offers were submitted. There was a 14 million euro offer for Endo, but that was rejected from Marseille. But Liverpool, of course, rejected this first offer. That doesn't mean that Liverpool is not open to selling Endo. If they received higher offers than the first bid, then David Lynch is reporting that Liverpool would be open to selling Endo. Marseille are not the only club showing an interest, because there are Bundesliga clubs monitoring the situation as well. So I think this is a very interesting development, that Liverpool are now open to selling Sepp van den Berg, Wataru Endo, Joe Gomez, and we would even prefer to sell Owen Beck, even though he's a big talent. I'm not sure why Liverpool would want to sell him unless they think that we have more than enough, fullbacks developing at the youth academy. And what is absolutely brilliant is that the Liverpool players started talking among themselves about the considerable contrasts between training and the tactics of Jurgen Klopp and the training and the tactics under Arne Slot. This isn't to say that they are either better or worse, but they are a lot different. It's pretty natural when anyone goes from one everyday working environment to another. Arne Slot's training sessions are described as much more technical, almost more about the theory of the playing style. If the squad now have had the chance to get the feel for their new boss, of course Arne Slot has had the chance to assess and to get a feeling for the squad. In short, Arne Slot now has more of a handle of what he wants, what he needs. And the belief around the Liverpool camp, many journalists are reporting, is that transfer business will finally accelerate this week, as the opening Premier League game against Ipswich is on August the 18th. So we have 16 days left. And the next 10 days are likely to see Liverpool making the first concrete bids. And the reason why Liverpool are also inviting bids for Van den Berg and Endo and even Joe Gomez, we have a big squad with a lot of players. We need to loan players out, we need to sell some players to actually make room for any incoming transfers. Liverpool are now looking for a centre half, a defensive midfielder and a wide forward, although potentially two of the latter. The most high profile of those is Anthony Gordon, who is very keen on moving to Liverpool. But Newcastle are digging their heels in. They don't really want to sell any of their three biggest and best players, which is Alexander Isak, Bruno Guimaraes and Anthony Gordon. So Liverpool might need to offer something crazy like 80 million for Anthony Gordon, which I don't think he's worth that much. I would only sell Anthony Gordon for 80 million if we got like 70 million for Luis Diaz, or 75 for Luis Diaz, because Gordon is 4 years younger than Diaz, 23. Maybe he has a little bit higher ceiling, even though I absolutely love Luis Diaz. And I actually don't want Liverpool to sign a forward. I want Liverpool to sign a defensive midfielder and a young centre-back. But even a young centre-back, if we keep Joe Gomez and maybe Sepp van den Berg around, or just Joe Gomez around, that's not even needed. A brilliant defensive midfielder for 70, 80 million, or even 60 million, I don't care about the price, I just want a fantastic world-class player in that position. Even if we just sign that one big defensive midfielder's transfer, I would be happy with the transfer window, because honestly our squad is really, really brilliant, brimming with talent, and also signing too many players interferes with the youth academy players and the youth players, the young players getting enough playing time. And right now, Arne Slot and the Liverpool recruitment team or transfer committee, whatever you want to call them, they are currently deciding who Arne Slot is making available to sell and Liverpool is making available to sell. One thing can be said for sure: Arne Slot's new tactics, new playing style, new playing theory, and his different coaching has translated into some very exciting, very promising football in pre-season. Of course, these are only friendly games, but the early signs are encouraging. And some of the players are starting to see why actually one senior figure from a rival club who didn't want to get named, but they told one of the journalists that they described Arne Slot as maybe the best in the world on the training ground right now. We shouldn't, of course, hype Arne Slot up too much before Liverpool play competitive games, but the early signs are very encouraging and very promising that Arne Slot is a very clever, very smart and very good coach, and hopefully it will be a good long-term solution for Liverpool. So thanks for watching, guys. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.